The study abroad journey can be very, very difficult at times. It can be one of the most stressful endeavors that you have ever taken up in your life. And let me give you the exact three reasons why, and I'm going to give you the solutions to the problems that you are facing in this journey. If you're new to this channel, please go ahead, make sure to subscribe because we're going to be publishing a lot of content about studying abroad and moving overseas and living your life overseas. That's all this channel is about, and I hope to help you in your journey as well. This video really isn't just focusing on MS in US. It could be basically you studying abroad in any country, and you will be facing this stress if you are moving to a different country because things are going to be very different over there. When you see all of those students pull up in their Lamborghinis and they have great gadgets in their hands, they are wearing great clothes, better clothing, better everything, better lifestyle, you just start comparing yourself to these people. Hey, look, I mean, this guy, if they just stop studying today, if they stop taking the class, or if they skip a few classes, they wouldn't worry about it because their family would just bail them out. They wouldn't need any finances in terms of the specialized knowledge that this degree is providing. They won't really need that return. I mean, so life is just so unfair in such ways, right? You see people who are way better off than you and they really aren't bound by the same constraints as you. So that kind of gets intimidated and it starts getting into your head. You start putting that pressure right in your head, and it's really difficult getting out of these situations. It can get even more difficult if you are scrolling down on your Instagram, checking out their profiles, and then you're just mischievous about how these people are able to afford all of these great gadgets, how they're able to do all of this, all of that you simply could not afford in your whole life, even if you work from now till eternity. So yeah, things can get very difficult at times, and there are ways that this journey would be stressful for you. It's not just that. Let me actually go ahead and detail all 3 ways here. So the issue number 1 over here is comparison. You comparing your lifestyle with the lifestyle of others that you meet at university. Now it can be a lot of things. Number 1, like I mentioned, the rich kids, you're comparing your lifestyle to theirs and you're seeing that, oh, I'm just not able to cope up with the kind of riches that these people have. They literally have no pressure and I am basically just not able to cope up with the pressure over here. Then the second kind of people you would compare yourself to are the studious lot. You see all of these people who are studying all the time and they're scoring better than you, they're better in class, better grades, and you just start thinking to yourself, I mean, what are they doing that I am not? How can I basically be more like them? And it just kind of stresses you out. The competition over here, you try to be better than them, that kind of stresses you out, and it just doesn't make sense after that. And finally, the know-it-alls. If you go ahead and attend class, you would basically see that there are people who are much, much better at answering the professor's questions than you ever could be. Even though you're doing your homework, you're trying to be ahead of the class, you're studying one chapter ahead, but it's just not making sense. You are simply not able to cope up to their level. Now, all of these are basically the inferiority complex. And these can really start getting into your head and making your life difficult for you. It's simply not easy when you're seeing your peers are doing so much better and you're falling way behind them in line. And let me tell you the quick fix for that. The first issue, and the issue is basically something that we all deal with. It's something that we deal with internally. Sometimes we express it, but in general, it's more of an internal issue. We don't really express it to people, not even our friends and family most of the times. And you have to really understand over here, not everyone that you're meeting is basically coming from the same place. There are a lot of people who are coming in from the industry, who have worked 10 years in the industry, who have already made a lot of money, and they're there now. So you have to understand, if you're a fresh graduate, well, things are going to be different, right? The same thing applies if you are basically sitting down with someone who has worked in, I don't know, NASA for 2 years, right? Who have had their internship in CERN, right? Of course, they would probably be better at certain things than you are, or certain courses than you are. And you really have to understand where this person is coming from. Have they had a better background? Have they had a better education previously? Or have they just worked long enough in the industry to know more? and you really have to put in that thought in your mind, because you can't really compare someone who's basically sitting with 10 years of experience to someone like you who's probably sitting with zero industry level experience in class. So things are definitely going to be different, but that does not mean that you're not going to be able to make it, because trust me when I tell you this, I have met ample of students who couldn't even have made it back in their home country, but they did so well when they were studying overseas, right? It's not the case that you cannot do it. It's just that you really have to stop comparing yourself with people, because really it doesn't make sense at this point when you are very different from someone who's sitting next to you in class. Point number 2, the burden of loans. Now, the loan game, the debt game, that can get really difficult for some people. And let me tell you why. Number one is that they may have borrowed more than their net worth. They have never earned this amount of money, nor has their family sometimes seen this amount of money that they have borrowed from the banks, and now they're going ahead with their journey overseas. And yes, it can be very daunting to really think about the prospect of, hey, look, what if I just don't get a job over here? What if I'm not able to pay back these loans, because these are just going to fall back on my parents' chest? And that's something that you simply cannot afford. Apart from that, there's of course the stress from part-time jobs. If you have one, you're worried about balancing your education with this job, and if you don't have one, you're worried about getting that part-time job somehow or the other to be able to basically bear expenses, right? Your living expenses, at least you want to cover those. So definitely you have a lot to worry about in terms of the finances game. And over here, my biggest advice to you would be that you really need to understand you can't change your past. You can't change your financial background. You can't change your family's financial background in general. All you can do is you can try to change your future by your actions of the present. So really focus on what is important. At this point, your education is important, not basically sulking over the fact that you have taken up a loan. If you've taken up a loan, it's already done. Now try to make the most of it. And trust me, you're in an area where you can basically make the maximum return on your investment. And the best part about this is, when you put that money in some asset like a stock or real estate, most times you don't really control the direction of where your money goes, whether it increases or decreases. You can just do your research. And you can try to put your money in the best investment asset as possible. But in your case, you put that money in yourself. You actually have the control over your own actions. You can make sure that that money, that invested money, can even become 1,000 times more. But it really is up to your actions and how you go ahead in this journey. And now that brings me to my issue number 3 over here, that again, being an international student, personally also, I also face this issue. And that is the new way of education, the new way of teaching. You know, things are very different when you move to the West, and their education system is in general more practice-based. And I'm sure all of you guys know about it. You wrote it in your SOPs, you thought about it, you already had that in your mind. Hey, look, I don't really, gel well with theory. I don't like it when my teachers just explain me the concepts theoretically. I want something more practical. Well, you got it now. When you actually step into the class in the US or in other countries like Canada, you will see that there's a lot more practical oriented grading system. So basically, you are being graded on your assignments more than you're being graded on your tests. Your tests may just carry a 25% weightage, but 75% of it may be based on your assignments or how you do well in class, right? Or how your behavior is in class, how you are interacting in class. All of these things, the office hours, really interacting with professors, all of these things, these little things, they start to count more than those tests, those 3-hour tests that you're used to taking. And things definitely go downhill from there for some people, because they're just not used to this system. Even though they were acing the grades back home, well, this is not back home. You're in a different place, and the whole education system has changed. You really have to cater yourself. You have to be very flexible in terms of where you have been and where you are right now. You really need to understand this difference, and you need to go ahead and cater to these differences. Of course, at the same point of time, other things such as, when you were back home, you probably were submitting, like the whole class was submitting the same assignment, and the teacher would be okay with it most times. The plagiarism would not count. But in the US or in Canada or in any Western country in general where you're going to study, plagiarism is simply not acceptable, and they would fail you in that class in most cases. So in general, there is active participation required, and really my advice to you is go ahead and start participating actively in class. Try to be as interactive as possible. Try to get out of your comfort zone. Try to do new things. And of course, you're going to a new country to experience new things and to develop. You have to do your own chores. You have to do your own laundry. You have to cook your own food. You have to do your own part-time jobs. You have to support yourself financially. There's a lot of stress, and you will come out of this a much, much better and evolved version of yourself. But only if you don't give up. So don't get into that inferiority complex. Don't worry about new things and opening up to new possibilities. Just try to do your best, and trust me, your finances, whatever you're worried about, you will be okay. Okay? These were the biggest 3 reasons why I find international students stressed crazy out of their mind, and they're just simply not able to accept it. They see students sitting in the dorms and they're studying 24/7 in the study rooms. It's always occupied by the same group of faces, and it just starts getting to them. I just want you to know that everyone is different. You're in a different position. Someone next to you, you don't really know their journey. You really need to put in the work and take yourself to the next level. Your competition is you and not them. Okay, so hope this video made sense to you. I do have an Instagram page where you can go ahead and follow me over there for more such content like this, and of course this channel does have more videos coming up. Almost every week we do 2 to 3 videos. So I hope to see you here again. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye and take care for now.